Burt Reynolds wasn't just an actor. He was an era, a feeling, a mischievous wink to the camera that defined American cool. Born Burton Leon Reynolds, Jr. on February 11, 1936, in Lansing, Michigan, he was the son of Harriet Furnett and Police Chief Burton Milo Reynolds. His destiny was forged not in the glamorous lights of Hollywood, but in the sun-soaked fields of Riviera Beach, Florida. It was there that the young Burt discovered football, a passion that nearly changed the course of history. He was a promising halfback at Florida State University, but his future as a gridiron legend was tragically snatched away by a shattering knee injury. This moment, a devastating full stop to his athletic dreams, was actually the pivot point of his life, steering him into a new, uncertain direction. After some wandering, a simple act of encouragement from a teacher became the spark that ignited his journey to the stage. His early days in the 1950s were a relentless Hollywood hustle. Reynolds took his small, rugged parts on shows like Gunsmoke and Riverboat. He was built for westerns, all deep voice and chiseled looks, but Tinseltown struggled to see the full potential behind the handsome face. Then, the late 1960s and early 1970s hit, and everything changed. The moment the world truly saw his depth was in 1972's Deliverance. His performance was raw, powerful, and intense, a far cry from a charming rogue. The film was a critical and commercial thunderbolt, proving Reynolds was a serious performer, capable of more than just a smile. The 1970s weren't just the height of his career, they were the age of Burt Reynolds. With smash hits like Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, The Longest Yard, 1974, and Hooper, 1978, he became the quintessential American movie star, a walking, talking symbol of rebellious confidence and approachable, good-natured masculinity. His trademark mustache, the easy, devilish grin, and that unforgettable swagger created a film hero who was never too stiff or self-important. Audiences didn't just admire him, they loved him because he felt real, a man who could crack a joke one minute and deliver a moment of genuine heartbreak the next. Beyond the iconic action and comedy roles, his dramatic talent was undeniable. While Deliverance remains a career highlight, his unforgettable comeback as Jack Horner in 1997's Boogie Nights cemented his legacy. This complex adult film director, with his mixture of flawed morality and fatherly care, earned Reynolds an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Many critics called it a career-defining moment, a testament that beneath the playful, rugged exterior was an actor of true, deep emotional substance. But his journey was also marked by turbulence. The 1980s and 1990s brought box office failures, serious health battles, and eventually bankruptcy. Yet, like the characters he played, Reynolds was fiercely resilient, always returning to the screen and stage with an endearing blend of humor and humility. He continued to act late in life, often mentoring younger talent and appearing in independent films that reminded everyone of his enduring magnetism. Private storms, the public loves, and lasting scars. Burt Reynolds' personal life often mirrored the dramatic intensity of his on-screen roles. His two marriages were passionate, highly publicized, and sometimes turbulent chapters in his private world. His first marriage was to English actress Judy Kai during his early ascent to fame. His second was to television star Lonnie Anderson at the peak of his Hollywood royalty. Both were brief but left an undeniable imprint. He married Judy Kaye, the comedic star of Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In in 1963. They were two attractive, ambitious performers climbing the ladder, and their relationship began with shared fire. Unfortunately, the pressures of show business and volatile, clashing personalities proved too much. Kaye later wrote candidly about the emotional strain and volatility of their dynamic. Reynolds, in reflection, admitted the marriage ended too fast, citing his own immaturity and inability to handle the demands of a lifelong commitment. After just 2 years, they divorced in 1965, a swift but influential end to an early chapter. He carried a lifelong regret, feeling they were simply too young and career-obsessed to make it work. More than 2 decades later, Reynolds married Lonnie Anderson, the blonde bombshell from WKRP in Cincinnati, in 1988. Their union was portrayed as the ultimate Hollywood fairy tale, 2 beautiful, bankable stars joining lives. The wedding was a media spectacle, positioning them as one of Hollywood's golden couples. However, behind the public smiles, the marriage was far from harmonious. Both were strong-willed individuals with demanding careers. Rumors of infidelity, financial strain, and career pressures quickly led to discord. The marriage deteriorated into a bitter and highly public divorce in 1994. The breakup was national news, with both Reynolds and Anderson speaking harshly about each other in the press. Reynolds called the divorce one of the most painful, financially and emotionally. He accused Anderson of prioritizing fame over love, while she claimed he had been abusive and unfaithful, claims he denied. Despite the toxicity, their relationship had a powerful anchor: their shared devotion to their adopted son, Quentin Anderson Reynolds. Though the split was acrimonious, both eventually expressed regret over how public the battle became. In his later years, Reynolds reflected on his marriage to Anderson with a mix of sorrow and wistfulness, admitting he had genuinely loved her, despite the pain the relationship had caused. For fans of rugged, tough guy cinema, the comparison was irresistible: Burt Reynolds versus Clint Walker. Both men embodied the stoic, muscular, charismatic American male, a hero who could handle himself in any fight and still melt hearts with a disarming smile. Though their careers overlapped, Reynolds rarely spoke publicly about his personal feelings toward Walker, leaving years of silence and speculation, until a late-life reflective interview when he finally opened up about the friendship, rivalry, and deep admiration for the icon. "In my early days," Reynolds began, "Clint Walker was already a legend to guys like me. I was still hustling, and there was Clint, this mountain of a man with a voice that sounded like it came straight from the Rockies. Watching him on Cheyenne, I thought, that's what a cowboy is supposed to look like." Reynolds admitted he was profoundly impressed and even a little envious back then. While Burt was chasing guest spots, the 6'6" Walker was one of Warner Brothers' biggest TV stars. He had what we all wanted: strength, dignity, and this quiet confidence that never had to shout. As his reflection deepened, the tone softened, revealing a profound respect. Clint wasn't just muscle and charm. He was one of the kindest men I ever met in this business. Hollywood can chew you up, but Clint never lost his decency. He didn't play the game like others. He stayed true to himself, and that's what I always admired. Reynolds, known for his own rebellious streak, recognized a shared independence in Walker. We both had that stubbornness, but Clint had a calm about him. Where I might joke my way through a bad situation, Clint would just look you in the eye and say what needed to be said. That's the quiet kind of power. When asked about working together, Reynolds chuckled. We joked about doing a Western. He'd be the straight arrow hero, and I'd be the smart-mouthed deputy who gets in trouble. It would have been a riot, but the timing was never right. Regarding the fan debate about who was the toughest man in Hollywood, Reynolds grinned. If Clint wanted to, he could have snapped me like a twig, but he wouldn't. That wasn't who he was. He didn't need to prove anything. His presence alone said it all. They crossed paths only a handful of times socially, at charity events and award shows, but Reynolds recalled the genuine warmth and lack of competition. Every time I saw him, he greeted me like an old friend. He'd ask how my folks were, and he meant it. You don't get that kind of sincerity from many people in Hollywood. In his final quiet reflection, Reynolds spoke for a generation. Guys like Clint Walker represented something that's missing now, he said. He was a man's man, but also a gentleman. He didn't need scandals or headlines. He let his work and his character speak for him. That's rare, I think we all wanted to be a little like Clint, strong, decent, and unshakable. Reynolds concluded with a heartfelt tribute. Clint Walker was one of a kind. The screen lost a real cowboy, and the world lost a good man. I was proud to know him. And if there's a heaven, I like to think he's up there riding tall in the saddle. The truth is, I admired him more than I ever said. Maybe it's time people knew that. Burt Reynolds died of a heart attack at the Jupiter Medical Center in Jupiter, Florida, on September 6, 2018, at the age of 82. His passing marked the end of an era, the loss of a man whose charm, humor, and rugged looks had defined American masculinity for decades. Despite having battled various health issues for years, including heart problems that necessitated bypass surgery in 2010, Reynolds had remained relentlessly optimistic, discussing new projects and holding on to his lifelong passion for acting. The heart attack came as a shock to fans globally. He passed away quietly in the Florida town he cherished for its calm and distance from the Hollywood bustle. His funeral was handled with the discretion and privacy he had requested in his later years. His ex-wife, actress Lonnie Anderson, and their adopted son Quentin Reynolds organized a private memorial service. Despite the decades of bitter tabloid warfare that defined their divorce, Anderson put the past aside to ensure Reynolds received a farewell worthy of his tremendous legacy. By the time of his death, they had found a measure of peace and mutual respect. Anderson reportedly ensured the ceremony reflected Reynolds' spirit, simple, intimate, and heartfelt, rather than an extravagant Hollywood production. The private memorial service was held on September 20th, 2018, in North Palm Beach, Florida, attended by only close friends, family, and a few colleagues. Those present spoke of his mischievous humor, kindness, and deep loyalty. It was a quiet gathering, full of both tears and laughter, as they shared memories of the man whose charisma had lit up the screen. Quentin, who always avoided the public eye, spoke tenderly about his father, describing him as a man who, despite his fame, was humble, loving, and always made time for family. Anderson was deeply emotional but strong in her resolve to honor the memory of the man she had once loved.